Good evening, I'm Chloe Beardsley.
And I'm Shelby Madsen. Thanks for joining us this evening.
An elderly couple was found dead yesterday morning in Lewiston. Lewiston police say their deaths appeared to be murder-suicide. Police say 85-year-old George Burns allegedly shot his wife before turning the gun on himself. A handgun was found at the scene and only 2 shots had been fired. Captain Tom Green says checks were written to the housekeepers and a note was left that referred to Vera Burns' poor health. Green says Burns was terminally ill and that there have been at least a dozen medical calls to the home.
A Spokane apartment was evacuated today during an arrest of an Okanagan County fugitive. Spokane police took Dustin Louie into custody early this morning after finding out he was hiding in an apartment complex at 1700 Maple Block. Residents were told to evacuate the building while police surrounded the apartment Louie was in. Louie is wanted in Okanagan County on outstanding warrants for first-degree armed robbery and several weapon charges.
A skull found on Whidbey Island is likely to be from a homicide victim. The skull was found by 2 people walking along Useless Bay in November, but was not turned over to authorities until February 2nd. The King County Medical Examiner's Office says the skull appears to belong to a 35-year-old man who died about 10 years ago. King County Sheriff's Office says there are 2 areas of sharp force trauma on the skull that appear to have been caused by an object such as an axe or machete. Portions of the skull are being sent for DNA profiling.
The Washington legislature may find a way to keep the Northwest Museum of Arts and Culture at the State Museum in Tacoma open. Senate Majority Leader Lisa Brown says a coalition of state legislatures are working on a strategy to slowly reduce the state support over time while the museums look for financial support elsewhere. Brown says a possible source of funding would be the region's tribes because the museum has an extensive collection of Native American artifacts. Proposed budget cuts for 2011 to 2013 will decrease funding for the museums by $3.3 million.
Another cool, cloudy day today, but it could get a lot colder. I'm Tyler Slauson, and I'll have your President's Day weekend forecast after the break. Welcome back to Cable 8 News. It was another cloudy day today, 37 degrees, winds coming out of the west at about 6 miles per hour. Tonight, we're going to see the cool conditions continue, low about 26 degrees with those calm winds, sticking around out of the east at about 6 miles per hour. For tomorrow, we'll have a day much like today, highs near 40 degrees with lows in the mid-20s, sunset coming just before 7 a.m. The sun might actually be up by the time you wake up, head out to class. Now we'll move on to the state map, a day much like it was here in Pullman today in Spokane at 38 degrees. The only place we saw the sunshine was over in central Washington. Wenatchee saw 42 degrees and cloudy and cool as well over on the west side. Finally, we'll move on to your 5-day forecast. Taking a look, we're going to see the sunny conditions just over the weekend for Sunday and Monday. By Tuesday and Wednesday, we could see some snow showers in the area with those low temperatures dipping down into the 20s. A cold front's moving in. We could see the coldest temperatures we have since January. That's a look at your weather forecast. Now back to the news desk.
New bottle bill legislation is presented in Olympia proposing an incentive for people to recycle their used bottles. The bill would require customers to make a 5-cent deposit on all bottles purchased, and when the customer is done with the bottle, they can return it and get their money back. The bill includes all plastic, glass, and aluminum bottles, with the deposit clearly marked on the container. The bottle bill is similar to Oregon legislature, where users can recycle cans and get money in exchange.
President Barack Obama is visiting Oregon today to discuss education plans. Obama is planning to push for more education spending and is meeting with Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg and several other technology leaders. Obama's budget unveiled a proposed $13 billion in education spending despite the 5-year freeze of government spending. Obama says an educated workforce will attract jobs in the U.S. and help compete with other countries. The president's visits are to support and boost Republican support for higher spending.
ASWSU is proposing to revamp the election process. The structure of the Senate could change next year if the constitutional amendment lands on the upcoming ballot. ASWSU President Jake Bredstrand says the bill will change student representation from the current location-based system to one centered on academics. Instead of senators elected by district, students would vote 1 senator to represent each undergraduate college for the university. 4 senators would be chosen to represent students with an undeclared major and 6 senators from the rest of the university.
Clay Thompson is named 3rd in all-time scoring for WSU. Did that help the I'm Aria Placencia, and I'll have that answer and more after the break. The WSU men's basketball game fell to number 12 Arizona last night, 70-79. Klay Thompson scored 30 points, making him WSU's third all-time leading scorer, but it wasn't enough to beat the Wildcats. Wildcat Derek Williams scored 26 points and grabbed 8 rebounds, but also had a lot of help from his teammates. WSU head coach Ken Bones says Arizona's depth had a lot to do with the win. Arizona's skill at the free throw line also helped the Wildcats. Arizona made 24 of 26 free throws, including 21 straight. The next matchup for the Cougs will be tomorrow against Arizona State in Tempe and will be televised on FSN Northwest. Although the Cougs fell yesterday, they hope to pick up a win tomorrow against Arizona State. Cable 8 reporter Derek Austin has more.
The WSU men's basketball win against the Cal Bears over the weekend puts them at 17-8 for this season. Coach Bones says he is pleased, even though he really would have liked to have gotten a win on those close losses they had.
We really thought we'd be a little bit better than 7-6 in conference at this time, but I think we've got to be pleased with where we're at because it could be worse.
Junior Klay Thompson attributes the Cougars' struggles lately to the defensive schemes their opponents have thrown at them.
We've been seeing so much zone lately that we got to do a better job of just moving the ball and figuring out ways to get good shots.
The Cougars start a 4-game road trip Thursday as they head south to take on the nation's 12th ranked team.
Well, it's going to be a tough matchup. Arizona's really, really good. And we're going to get back on the court Monday, start preparing for them. But they're an extremely good team. And they're definitely better than they were last year when we were down there and we were able to knock them off.
The Cougars then head to Arizona State, where they will take on the 1-11 Sun Devils on Saturday afternoon.
They don't have a very impressive record, but they've played a lot of teams close. It's amazing for a team that has not had success in the win column how well they've played other teams.
The team plans on getting some solid practices in this week in preparation for the weekend and hopes to feed off this win, bringing some much-needed energy to the floor.
Hopefully bring the same amount of energy we did at the start of this game. And we beat Arizona State last time, so hopefully we can do the same thing there. And Arizona nipped us on our home court, so hopefully we can go on back.
You can't take anybody lightly, and we definitely can't take anybody lightly. So we got to go down there and see what we can do.
Reporting for Cable 8 News, I'm Derek Austin.
An arena football team plans to take their game outdoors. Reigning AFL champ Spokane Shock announced yesterday they will play the Utah Blaze on July 9th in Joe Albee Stadium in North Spokane. Shock majority owner Brady Nelson says the concept sounded a little odd, but thinks he can combine the best elements of both. Nelson says he got the idea in '06 when the Spokane Arena sold out and fans were turned away. This will be the first regular season outdoor game in AFL history.
Looking for a fun way to help out the Whitman County Humane Society? Reporter Shelby Madsen has more on the Furball and Yappy Hour fundraising event in this story. This Saturday is the Whitman County Humane Society's 4th annual Furball and Yappy Hour event. The fundraising event will begin at 5:30 p.m. at the Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories Event Center in Pullman. Humane Society President Colleen Harrington says the event will host a variety of entertainment.
As always, it's going to be a great time. We start out with our Yappy Hour, and this year's theme is Mardi Growl, so we have sort of a Mardi Gras feel to it. The Snake River Six is going to be playing Dixieland music to begin with for Yappy Hour. Then we will have our keynote speaker is Marty Becker, who is known as America's Veterinarian. He's on Dr. Oz and also Good Morning America. Then we will have our pet parade, which will be adoptable animals that will come through with our celebrity servers. So those pets will be available for adoption.
Assistant Shelter Manager Ambrose Chong says they have different types of pets available for adoption.
I think last year the total number is about 490 something animals. Most of the time we only have cats and dogs, but we also have some exotics.
Harrington says money raised will directly benefit the adoption center called Animal Haven.
All of the money is used for veterinary care, for food, for spay, neuter, and shipping.
Tickets to the event cost $40 and can be purchased at whitmanpets.org. For Cable 8 News, I'm Shelby Madsen.
That's all the news we have for you tonight.
Stay tuned every weeknight at 7 and 10 o'clock. Have a good night.